I say either give it back or shut the fuck up. AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is. Say something about America that you like, because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even wanted any.
Bill Maher just went straight at AOC, and honestly, the contradiction he is pointing out is becoming impossible to ignore, because every time Republicans take power, suddenly America is described as completely broken, completely rotten, completely beyond repair. Everything is a disaster, everything is a crisis, everything is proof that the country is falling apart. But when Democrats are in power, the tone shifts quickly, very quickly. And Maher's point is simple: this is not principle, this is political selectivity. This is outrage. With a filter, it becomes harder and harder to ignore everywhere. If you enjoy sharp political commentary with no sugarcoating, hit subscribe button, drop like, and let's get right into it. Stay tuned now.
A more pertinent question to ask about the word woke might be, why in such a short time has it gone from a rallying cry to a pejorative? If the word only made you think of rational, deserved causes like teaching a less whitewashed version of American history, AOC would still want to own it. But it's a joke, because it makes you think of people who wake up offended and take orders from Twitter, and their oversensitivity has grown tiresome. That said,
Maher also goes right after AOC's old closeness to woke politics, and let's not act like that history just vanished. It did not. Back when woke carried status, cultural clout, and media approval, people like AOC leaned into it with no hesitation at all. The slogans were there, the symbolism was there, the posture was there, it was all part of the brand. But now that the label does not play the same way with normal voters, suddenly there is distance, suddenly there is caution, suddenly everybody wants to sound a little less attached, and Maher's read on that is blunt. This does not look like a deep change in belief. It looks like the image got cleaned up because the old version stopped landing.
That said, I would love to have AOC on this show. There's so much to admire there. I was one of her first supporters for the Green New Deal idea. But that will probably never happen, because Democrats don't go anywhere these days where they're not pre-adored. And that's my last bit of advice to them. Go where the amen corner isn't. Do Fox News. Be brave. Come here. Go everywhere. Winning is about expanding the...
Maher has made it clear that AOC can come on a show anytime and defend all of this directly. But that's the catch, isn't it? Because stepping onto Maher's set is not the same thing as showing up somewhere friendly, somewhere comfortable, somewhere the questions stay soft and the framing stays protective. Maher presses, Maher follows up. Maher doesn't just sit there and let polished talking points float by unchallenged. And that's exactly why critics think should be careful about taking that kind of invitation, because once the environment stops helping you, the performance has to carry itself. And when that happens, the script can start looking a lot weaker than it did inside the bubble there.
You don't really love America if you hate half the people in it. And also if you hate a lot of the things that everybody always loved about it. There's an oft-repeated moment in political debates where the moderator says to the two candidates, say something nice about your opponent.
Can you say one nice thing, something that you admire about your opponent?
And say something nice about Representative Deal.
Tell us something that you admire about your opponent.
Can you say something nice about your opponent?
It's always so awkward because the candidates just spent an hour describing how America would be an out-of-control dumpster fire if the other guy won the election.
Maher's bigger point is even more sharp than that. He basically argues that for people like AOC, the issue often doesn't sound like America itself. It sounds like Americans they can't stand politically, because when the other side takes power, the entire country suddenly gets described like it is morally broken from top to bottom, not flawed, not struggling, not messy, broken, deeply broken, maybe even irredeemable, and from there everything follows. Every policy becomes proof of collapse. Every disagreement turns into scandal, every headline becomes another reason to frame the country in worst possible light. Maher's point is that this stops feeling like honest criticism and starts sounding like reflex okay, and continues shaping public perception every single day now.
Okay, I say the next time we have debates, the moderator needs to frame that question a little differently, as say something about America that you like, because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even want it anymore. Republicans, I'll start with you. I really want to know. That is what's so odd about this time that we're living in. For all the talk about fighting for the soul of America, nobody seems to like it very much. Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America is just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew.
Maher is absolutely tapping into something real when he points out how dramatically the standards shift depending on who is sitting in the White House under Biden. Inflation fears, border issues, crime concerns, and foreign policy mistakes were often softened, explained away, or met with far more patience, but put Trump back in the picture, and suddenly every flaw becomes evidence that America is going off the rails. That's the contrast Maher is hammering, because at the same time supporters point to stronger economic signals, tighter border enforcement, energy-focused priorities, and a more forceful posture abroad. So his criticism is pretty clear. Too many people pick the side first, then sort the evidence afterward, and once that happens, analysis turns into loyalty management.
A country that started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking and unable to change. But we have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective.
Maher's criticism of the outrage mindset also hits because people can actually recognize it when they see it. They really can. In parts of the left, anger no longer comes across as something that rises naturally in response to specific events. It starts to feel like a permanent operating mode, a habit, a posture, a mindset that never really powers down, never really lets go. If something improves, it gets minimized. If progress happens, the conversation shifts. If the facts stop supporting the narrative just moves somewhere else and finds a fresh disaster to obsess over, and that's exactly where Maher's point lands hard, because once it reaches that stage, criticism no longer looks like it's really about fixing the country. It starts to look more like a way to build identity, signal virtue, and stay emotionally invested in decline.
72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America, way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land. But honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgments where they say, "I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe," I say either give it back or shut the fuck up.
Maher also pushes back against the claim that Black Americans today are living in the exact same reality they were living in generations ago. And no, his point is not that every problem has disappeared. Obviously not. His point is that acting as if there has been no serious progress at all is its own kind of distortion. Since the 1960s and 70s, opportunities in education, business, politics, and culture have opened up in ways that once would have seemed unreachable. That matters a lot. And when the conversation keeps circling pain, keeps circling grievance, keeps circling only what is still broken, it leaves out a huge part of the story. Maher's argument here is pretty simple. If your framing only works by ignoring real progress, then your framing has a credibility problem.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is.
Ma also pushes back against how socialism gets packaged like a clean moral upgrade, even though the real-world track record is much messier than the sales pitch suggests, and his skepticism here makes sense. Some Democrats still present it as morally superior to capitalism, but the countries most often brought into the conversation, Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, are also associated with shortages, instability, and weak growth. Even when you account for sanctions policy failures, or isolation in different proportions and contexts, so the basic question still stands: if a system keeps running into the same kinds of problems in practice, why does it keep getting marketed like the smartest answer? And yes, modern economies are mixed economies. Mixed economy, fine, exactly, which is why the real debate should focus on outcomes, not slogans.
Immigrants. Ask any of them why they came here, and they will tell you the same thing. Ron DeSantis put me on a plane. But they will also tell you that America, for all that's so shitty about it right now, is still the last best hope. And those people asking for our votes to take it over should remember.
Maher, and that brings us straight to the contradiction. Maher keeps hammering AOC, and her allies love talking about reshaping the future of a country they also describe as deeply broken, deeply unjust, and sometimes barely worth defending. So here is the obvious question: if America is really that rotten, why the non-stop push to control? Where it goes next, that's the part Maher keeps circling back to, and for good reason, because leadership takes more than anger, more than slogans, more than acting like huge parts of the country are beneath respect. It takes persuasion, it takes credibility, it takes the ability to speak to people outside your own political tribe. And Maher's point is simple: when your message leans too heavily on division and contempt, it gets a whole lot harder to sell yourself as the answer.
But again, something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago, and who's not obsessed with seeing America through shit-colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable, privileged assholes we are? Immigrant.
Maher, and maybe that's why Maher's broader point lands so hard. For all the non-stop complaining, for all the dramatic speeches about how broken this country supposedly is, people all over the world still look at America and see opportunity. They see stability, they see freedom, they see the chance to work, build, rise, and create a better life for millions of people. That promise is real enough that they are willing to risk a lot just to get a shot at it. And that's what makes this debate so revealing. America is often talked about not as flawed, but as if it is permanently rotten, not as a country with problems to solve, but as a place where even progress has to be treated like propaganda. And that's where AOC and her allies come in, because the message they often project is that if you say anything good about America, you're excusing everything bad. If you talk about progress, you must be ignoring the past. But that's a false choice. You can talk about America's problems without pretending the entire country is rotten, and you can push for change without acting like nothing good has ever existed here. That's the point Maher is making. You can demand reform without talking like America is beyond saving. And once politics turns into a contest over who can sound the most ashamed of the country, it stops being persuasive, it starts sounding performative, and people can hear that. So no, America isn't perfect, but it is still a country people trust, admire, and want to be part of, and that matters, because a nation that still attracts ambition, sacrifice, and hope is not a nation people truly believe is hopeless. And that's the real takeaway. AOC and her allies can keep framing America as nothing but failure, guilt, and disappointment, but most people can see that's not the full picture. A country moves forward by fixing what's wrong without denying what's strong. And when criticism stops sounding like reform and starts sounding like resentment, people stop hearing truth, they just hear contempt. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.